Hey YouTube, today we're going to talk about parachute cord, also known as paracord. This is for those who are just getting into cording and wanting to know how to pick the right type of parachute cord. There's definitely various types out there. There's a commercial type of quality, a commercial level that's out there. And then there's a military grade parachute cord, and you definitely want to get the military grade. It goes by 550 Type 3, and more specifically, it's mil spec is what it goes by, or also the MIL-C-5040, and that's what one of the numbers that the military uses to identify this particular cording. 550 stands for the test capability that it can hold 550 pounds of weight. And the Type 3 just connotates the diameter and the ability to hold a certain type of weight. And what we have here before you, we have some different kinds of rolls here. These are, at one point they had 1,000 feet in them. I like personally buy 1,000 feet at a time. We have reflective over here. They have 3M reflective paracord. They even have glow in the dark paracord, but for our purposes, we just maybe some reflective paracord and non-reflective, and they come in a whole host of colors. There's literally dozens and dozens of colors to pick from. So in this talk, we're not going to only just talk about what paracord is, but its uses. But before we get to the uses, let's get a little more in depth about what paracord is. So it's a type of nylon that's braided together, and this particular type, 550 Type 3, has 7 inner yarns. So each yarn, though, is made up of 3 strands. So once again, inside here, there's 7 inner, some people call them strings, but they're actually officially called yarns. And each yarn is made up of 3 strands. So a total of 7 inside elements, and then the sheath on the outside. So you actually have 8 different elements. So 1,000 feet of this actually has 8,000 feet if you individually take it apart, which is pretty cool. And of course, there's a lot of controversy of what's better to have, this or bank line. Tarred bank line is awesome, but it's not really comparable. They're totally 2 different things. So maybe in the future we'll go over that, but for this video, we're just going to stick to paracord. Okay, the sheath these particular yarns are in, they typically have 32 strands that make it up. And what the interesting part about this is there's actually 6 different types of military paracord. It is smaller diameter for tethering, or just to kind of keep items on a person that doesn't need a lot of test weight capability. Type 1, for example, and all the way up to Type 4 and 5. So it's one of those things that there's actually 6 different types, which is pretty cool stuff. I may have misspoken on the 5. I know there's at least 4, and then there's 2 subcategories on some of them. So there's like 6 in total, but I think it only goes up to level 4. But like 2 of them have an A or a B to them. The official word for the core of these strands is called a kern, K-E-R-N. Okay, and we're just going to run through some uses and examples. And here's some before you. We got survival bracelets and stuff, and fobs and so forth. But I just have a small list here made up. And so we have, once again, key fobs, survival bracelets, or bands, or they call them wrist armor, whatever. It makes you feel more manly. Shoestrings, you could use it as a belt. You could wove it as a belt. Rifle slings, first aid slings, tourniquets, fishing line, shelter lashing, tarp shelter rigging line, fish drying line, clothesline, tripwires, makeshift camp alarms, trap snares, gear keeper, which I was talking about before, that even though the smaller diameter works even better for that as a gear keeper, but this works just fine. You could break up some of the cording and just use some of the internal yarns for that. We also have dental floss, suture thread, general cording, weapon making, hunting tools like the bola, sling, or the bowstring, eye patch. We have safety line, tool handle wraps, bandage holder, compression device, bridge construction device, or material, raft making material, tower making material, net making material, gear repair, clothing repair, emergency climbing rope, rigging rope. And that's kind of what I have here. And if you have any more ideas of what we could use it for, I'm sure there's quite a few. Please leave in the discussion box down below, the comment section, I mean. And thanks again for your support and for subscribing and hitting the like button. And I'll talk to you real soon. Thanks.